Hari Hari Bol. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Parakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajataham Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padahan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namahom Vishnupadaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutane Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vanayati Namine Vandeham Bhakti Chakoram Guranga Nija Preshtitam Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samivanam Namastubhyam Shri Radhe Kanishtitam Rasayana Katamritam Sankirtanam Anandaram Goswami Vanam Namaha Shamarani Mataram Vande Agnopiyad Anugrahat Tagarat Bhavasagaratcha Nabetcha Krishna Premadanam Shri Krishna Rupaya Vaidikikana Visheshagnaya Namamyaham Pujam Shamaranim Swapanikaraya Namahom Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishiman Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Shri Krishna Lidakatani Sudaksham Adoryam Adorya Guneshcha Yuktam Varam Varanyam Purushan Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasanamami Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Kesha Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vamaniti Namine Gaura Bhava Mayo Deha Ujvara Rasa Bhavaka Bhaktivedanta Vamano Virag Bhakti Pravartaka Guru Damnicha Sevasu Vaishnave Sarvadamate Grante Bhagavate Sakshat Goswami Vedante Rati Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavani Vishtatya Deshatarine Namahom Vishnupadaya Charya Simha Rupine Shishimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshavati Namine Attimacha Chanitraya Swashittanam Chapaline Jivaduke Siddharthaya Nama Premadayane Gaurishaya Vigrahaya Krishna Kamayaka Charine Rupanuga Privadaya Vinadeti Swarupine Prabhupadantarangaya Sarva Sadguna Shaline Mayavara Tamoganaya Vidantartavade Namaha Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabde Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Dayane Prapave Namaha Madhurjvana Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruda Pasiranta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshan Vairagya Murtaye Vipranambada Sambodhe Buddhammo Jayate Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Godhavya Baba Bhumesvam Nirjesta Sarshana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhaumashi Jagannathayate Namaha Vanchakalpatinubhyascha Kripasindubhya evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahaviranyaya. By the way, Gabby, if you like, you can join us in here. Yeah. It was just while eating. Sure. Namo Mahaviranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishye Namaha. We're on page 7. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandha Jagatpate. Go. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Puranamami Hari Priye. At the top of page 8 now. Jayatam Surator Pangur Mama Mandamate Gati Mat Sarvaswa Parambojo Shirada Madana Mohano Divyad Brindaranya Kapadrumada Shrimadatnagara Simhastanashto Shishirada Shila Govinda Devo Krishtanivi Sevyamano Smurami Shimarasarasarami Vamshi Vatatatashtitaha Karshan Venus Vaner Gopir Gopinatta Shriestuna. Top of page 9. Brindaye Tulasi Devyaye Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. And so, Gabby, is this your first time? You've been here before? Second time. Okay, cool.
Yesterday was my first.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, were you here in the morning yesterday?
No, I came like late afternoon.
So, in the mornings, what we do before class, we sing songs in a certain order, in order to like bring about auspiciousness. Have you heard the word auspiciousness before? I feel like it's okay. Cool. It's one I'm new to. So it brings about auspiciousness, and we start off. So we call out to our gurus, then we call out to the saints, and we call out to the avatar, the incarnate Krishna who appeared in this age who gave us the Hare Krishna mantra, then to Radha, then to Krishna, and then the Maha mantra. Though I'm going to be as basic as we can today, so that you can like join in. Have you done kirtan before?
So I have in St. Petersburg with Sacred City.
Like Moscow or like
with Thomas.
Russia?
Thomas
Meaning like
runs the Sacred City.
St. Petersburg, meaning like in Florida or in Russia?
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, not Russia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in Florida.
Oh, awesome.
In Tampa.
Okay.
Essentially.
So you know the Hare Krishna mantra?
I don't know all of them. I mean, they would do some in English, and they would do some of like the mantras. So.
The main mantra that we sing is called the Maha mantra.
Okay.
And so it's 3 words, but we say combine it in different ways, so it's 16 total words. It's 3 different words. Hare, which means it's calling out to the energy of God, calling out to the divine feminine. Then Krishna, who means he's the all-attractive reservoir of all pleasure. And then Rama, which means he enjoys loving pastimes with his dearmost beloved. And so, yeah, it's what I've heard from my teachers is that this word Hare, it's calling out. Hare, and so we're calling out, it's like the genuine cry of a child to the Divine Mother to be placed in the hands of the Divine Father.
Oh, wow.
So,
Because I sang it before, I didn't know the exact meaning behind it, so this is beautiful.
if you like as well, all these paintings on the walls, they are visual manifestations of the mantra onto the canvas. So they help us go even deeper into the mantra and that crying out. I think what we'll do then is we'll start off with a kirtan of the Maha Mantra,
Okay,
and yeah, go from there.
thank you.
Hare. Oh, also we do call and response. So I'll I'll say it and then everybody will repeat afterwards. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds a lot simpler. Thanks.
Hare. And we're also facing this way because that's the altar. They just happen to be closed right now. S oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're. Oh, wow. Okay. No, no problem. Oh, so that's the main mantra right there, right? Do the biggest one. All right, let's go. Why not? No holding back. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Yesterday they were setting it up, so I didn't get to see the.
So, so they're dressed in they are dressed in yellow because today is Vasant Panchami, or the start of the spring season. And so all around India, Radha and Krishna are dressed in yellow. It's the day of actually when Krishna calls to his topmost and dearmost beloveds and wants to enjoy dance with them. Yeah, and we'll hear more about that later. And so on the right side is Radha. Our right side is Radha, and the left is Krishna. Krishna, he is the embodiment of love. His body is made of love. The gopis are his topmost dear beloveds. Uh, they've offered themselves, mind, body, and soul, completely to him, and everything that they do is for his pleasure and his happiness, and that brings them the greatest joys and happiness. In fact, that's why when so I mentioned that there's Krishna who appeared in this age brought about this singing of the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. And so he is Krishna who appeared with the moods of his topmost beloved, his topmost gopi, Srimati Radhika, to really so that he could taste just how sweet it is and how much taste what she is tasting and experience what she is experiencing.
Experience.
And so and also I'll tell you the two personalities in that bottom corner, in fact all the men you see at the bottom, they are our gurus and our guru parampara, which means our disciplic succession of gurus. The most right are the most contemporary, and the most left are the further back in time.
Got you. The black and white ones.
Uh-huh. These pictures only go back about 500 years. Really, the the smallest one only goes back to the 1700s, but the chain of disciplic succession is unbroken since time immemorial. They didn't have photos,
Yeah, that's
you
what I
know.
was gonna. So I'm like, wow, they had pictures 500 years ago.
No, it's a
Okay,
painting,
gotcha.
or like it's either a painting or a graphic. So, in honor of them, we will sing the mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Could you do cartels? Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. So I'm going to teach you a few new words. So first one is Gurudev. Yeah, it's kind of simple. And then the other ones we'll do are Prabhu, Pod. Yes. And he's, we're referring to our gurus who, a few of our specific gurus. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously I was shortening. I was doing this, should I? Okay. Do you want me to still try to do a full Bajram Kram? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So then the other one is Nitai, Gora. And then Hari, Hari, Bowl. Yeah. Yeah. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gouda, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gouda, Hari Bol, Nitai Gouda, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gouda, Hari. Okay, now we're gonna do like a couple of songs. So if your soul is able to remember all the Sanskrit and all the Bengali from its past lives, great. We're going to sing some songs in Sanskrit and Bengali, and if not, the English is written right below, so you can know what we're saying.
Because this one might be a little complex. What page is that?
Page 23. And so you know, when this book is written, these songs are written in such a way, in the transliteration, the English writing so we can pronounce, so that each syllable we see is pronounced. So like Krishna, Haite, Chatur. All the C's are ch, and a lot of the S's are sh. So if that's why you're like, why is that a ch? Krishna vete chatur mukha hoya Oh, we do all these ones together, so you know. Krishna hoite chatur mukha hoya Krishna sevan mukha Brahma hoite narandera mohati Narada hoite vyasa Lakshmi Pati, oh, Madhvakaya Vyasa Dasa, Purna Pragna Padmana Bhagavati, Nrihari Madhava Vamshe, Akshobhya Paramahamse, Shishamboli Angi Karakore, Akshobhyera Shesha Jaya, Tirtaname Parichaya, Tada Dasye Gyana Sindhu Tore, Taha Hoite Doya Nidhi, Tada Dasya Vidya Nidhi, Rajendra Oilo Taha Hoite, Tahara Kinkara Jaya, Damaname Parichaya, Parampara Janabara Mahate, Jaya Dharma Dase Kyati, Shri Purushottama Jati, Tahoite Brahmanya Tirtha Sohori, Vyasati Tara Dasa, Lakshmi Pati Vyasa Dasa, Tahuite Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri Vada Shisha Vada Shri Ishvaram Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu, Ishvara Puri Kedanya Gauri Lenya Shri Chaitanya Jaganguru Gaura Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya Dupanuga Janera Jivana Vishwambara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahajana Jiva Raghunatahana Tara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Vara Narotama Seva Para Charapara Vishwanatha Ahasha Vishwanatha Bhakta Satta Baladeva Jagannatha Tarapriya Shri Bhakti Vinoda Mahabhagavata Vada Shri Gaura Kishora Vada Hari Bhajanete Jaramoda Shri Vaishava Navivad Sada Sevya Seva Pada Tara Daita Dasanahama Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanuga Shri Keshava Bhakti Pragyahana Gaudiya Vedanta Veta Maya Varo Tamohanta Gaudavani Prachara Chadama Pracharira Gaudavani Bhakti Vedanta Swami Pranira Prabhupada Kama Kesha Priya Mahajana Vamana Narayana Gauravani Tade Pranadana Esava Harijana Gaurangeta Nija Jana Tadeda Chiste Morakama Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara. Page 86. This one's about that form of Krishna when he appeared here 500 years ago to taste the love that Radha tastes. Gauranga Bodhite Habe Purnaka Sharira Hari Hari Bodhite Na Yane Babenira Adaka Benitai Jader Karuna Hoibe Samsara Vasana Mora Kabetu Jabe Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shuddhabe Mahana Kabehama He Rabo Shri Vrindavana Rupara Gunata Pade Haibe Akuti Kabehama Puja Bose Jugala Piriti Rupara Gunata Pade Rahumorasha Pratana Karo Yesada Narotamadasa Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Okay, so this one's a different tune altogether. Would you like us to read the English before or after? So, perpetually immersed in singing, dancing, and heartfelt kirtan of the name, form, qualities, pastimes, associates, and realm of Sri Krishna, the six Goswamis embody the ocean of nectarian love. Dear to both gentlemen and ruffians, always engaged in pleasing activities, and completely free from envy, they were adored by all. They are the recipients of Sri Chaitanya's immense mercy. Sri Chaitanya is that Krishna who appeared in this age. And they therefore remove the burden of the earth through the distribution of bhakti ras. I worship the six Goswamis, Shri Rup, Shri Sanatan, Shri Raghunath Bhatta, Shri Raghunath Das, Shri Jiva, and Shri Gopal Bhatta. They are uniquely. Prabhu, would you like to read one? Okay. They are uniquely expert in ascertaining the essence of all revealed scriptures, and they establish a supreme occupation of the soul, Bhagavad Bhakti. They are the true benefactors of the people, worshipful for the three worlds, and affection to those who have taken shelter of them. Due to the bliss of bhajan of the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, they have become like intoxicated honeybees. I worship Shri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. They are enriched with deep faith in the process describing the various qualities of Sri Gauranga. That's another name for Sri Chaitanya, that Krishna in this age. They nullify the great distress generated from the sinful activities of embodied beings by showering on them nectarian songs about Govinda, another name for Krishna. They are especially expert in expanding the ocean of bliss, and they rescue all from impersonalism by imparting the secrets of bhakti. I worship Shri Rup Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. They fully abandon at once the association of kingly aristocracy, deeming it insignificant, and out of compassion they humbly wore only loincloths and ragged quilts. Thereafter, they repeatedly immersed themselves in the delightful billowing waves in the nectareous ocean of ras, of the bhavs felt by the gopis. I worship Shri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. crowded with sweetly cooing cuckoos, swans and cranes, as well as groups of peacocks, cuckoos, and peacocks. Vrindavan is shining beautifully with trees that have many varieties of gems inlaid beneath their roots. There, day and night, the Goswamis intensely worship Sri Sri Radhakrishna, thus endowing all jivas with the ultimate benefits of life. I worship Sri Rup Sri Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. They would pass their time by daily chanting a fixed number of holy names, singing particular songs, and offering regulated obeisances to saints, deities, and the Lord's pastime places. Thus they fully conquered the urges of eating, sleeping, recreation, and so forth. Always considering themselves to be unlimitedly lowly and insignificant, they became enchanted in sweet rapture by remembering Sri Sri Radhakrishna's qualities. I worship Sri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. Wandering along the banks of Radhakund or the Yamuna, and sometimes at Vamshivat, they will be forever seized by limitless transcendental states, intoxicated by the utter madness of prema, deep love of God. Overwhelmed with bhav, they would jubilantly sing about the exalted qualities of Sri Hari. I worship Sri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. O Radhe, Queen of Vrindavan, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you? Are you beneath the Kopa Vriksha trees of Sri Govardhan Hill? Or are you in the forests on the banks of the Kalindi? Thus calling out, greatly overwhelmed in separation, they would wander throughout the length and breadth of Vraj Mandal. That's Krishna and Radha's hometown. I worship Sri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, Jiva, and Gopal Bhatta Goswamis. Would you like to lead?
Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Tira Tira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Paravahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalago Nana Sastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyarako Radha Krishna Pajara Vinda Bhajana Nandena Matsaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalago Shri Gauranga Gunanuvana Navido Shara Samridyan Vito Papo Tapana Krintano Tanubritam Govinda Ganamritai Anandambudivadanaika Nipuno Kaivaya Nistarako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Jiva Gopalago Tyakva Turnama Shesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sadatu Chavat Budvadina Ganesha Ko Karunaya Kopina Kanta Shito Gopi Bhavarasamrita Dilahari Kalola Magno Muhur Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopala Go Kujat Kokila Hamsa Sara Sagana Kirne Mayura Kule Nana Ratna Nibada Mula Vitapa Shri Yukta Vrindavane Radha Krishna Maharnisham Prabhajato Jivarta Joyo Muda Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopala Go Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Nativi Kalavasani Krito Nidrahara Vihara Kari Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo Radha Krishna Gunasmriter Madhurima Nandena Samohito Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopala Go Radha Kunda Tute Kalinda Tanaya Tire Chavansi Vate Premon Madhava Shara Shesha Dashaya Grasto Pramato Sada Gayanto Chakadahare Gunavaram Abhibhuto Muda Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopala Go Hey Radhe Braja Devi Ke Chalalite Hey Nanda Suno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale Kalindi Vanye Kuta Goshantaviti Sarvato Brajapure Der Mahavivalo Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Vagopala Go Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopala Go Jaya Rupa Sanatan Jaya Rupa Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunath Rupa Sanatan Rupa Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunath Jaya Sad Goswami Sad Goswami Sad Goswami Jaya Sad Goswami Goswami Jaya Sa Goswami. Six Goswamis ki. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki. Do we have time for one more song, Shramani? Smokey? Where's Smokey? Radhakunda Tata? Yeah, okay. Vasanta Shankar.
तेरा गोवर्धन पर्वत यमुना तेरा जय जय राधा कुंद कथा जय जय राधा कुंद तथा कुंज कुटेरा गोवर्धन पर्वत यमुना तेरा राधा कुसुम सरोवरा मानस गंगा कुसुम सरोवरा कालिंदनंदिनी विपुल तरंगा कालिंदनंदिनी वंशीवतगोकुला धीरा समीरा वृंदावन तरो लतिका बनीरा वृंदावन तरो जय जय राधा कुंद तथा कुंज कुटेरा गोवर्धन पर्वत यमुना तेरा जय जय राधा कुंद तथा कुंज कुटेरा खगमृगकुला मलया बताश मयूर भ्रमरा मुरली विलास शृङ्गपदर्शना मेघमाला शृङ्गपदर्शना हिमाला शृङ्गपदर्शना मेघमाला Vasant Shankha Shankha Karatala Shankha Shankha Jai Jai Radha Kunda Tata Kunda Kutera गोवर्धन पर्वत यमुना तेरा जय जय राधा कुंद तथा हो युगल विलास अनुकूल जानी लीला विलास दीपक मानी लीला विलास दीपक ए सब छोड़ तो कहीं नहीं जाओ ए सब छोड़ तो कहीं नहीं जाओ ए सब छोड़ तो पर न हराओ ए सब छोड़ अकत विनाला कर सुना खाना तू आओ दे पक्का हमारा पराना तू आओ दे ओ पकते विनोदा कहे सुनो खाना कते विनोदा तू आओ दे पका हमारा पराना जय जय राधा कुंदा तता कुंजा को तेरा गोवर्धन पर्वता जामुना तेरा जय राधे 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Shila Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tudalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravajantam Manupetam Apetagrityam Dvaipayano Viraha Tarva Juhava Putreti Tanmayataya Panedus Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vinay Aparada Lakshay Tarangamadye Twang Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike. Kripayati Yadi Radha Palita Sheshabada Kimapalavishishtam Pushti Marya Deyorme Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smeraha Soditashir Twijavadamani Panktya Mukti Shoktya Tadakim Shama Sundara Shikanda Shek Smeraha Samurali Manoha Radhikara Sikamam Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Karo Prananata Vrishabhanu Nandini Sri Mukhabjala Salola Sadapada Adhika Paratale Kutastati Tam Bhajami Rasikandra Shekara Sambhadaya Dashane Trinam Vibho Darshaye Vajrahendra Nandana Astu Mahantavati Vallabha Svanmanamani Maheshwari Priya. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishiman, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishiman, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Shishimad Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Shishimad Bhakti, Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all these assembled devotees, and to the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus who are my Shiksha Gurus, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Ban Maharaj and Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Siddhanti Maharaj. Vinodini, I have a suggestion. Vasanti has these big headphones, and they silence out half the noise. Can she give you them now and you can put them on?
This volume is fine.
Are you sure? Okay. All right.
Like loud Kirtan is unfortunately.
Okay. So today is the second day. See, Gabby, we go on with a certain theme, a certain book to study in the Vedic literatures. And then every once in a while, it's a big holiday. So we stop everything and we observe that. So today happens to be an extremely big holiday because it's the appearance and disappearance days of some of our very illustrious, self-realized teachers in our line of disciplic succession. So I say disappearance day or appearance day because both those days are worshipful to us. Most of them appeared around 500-ish years ago. But both their appearance dates and disappearance dates are both worshipful for us because it gives us an opportunity to remember them. And by remembering them, because they're still present with all their auspiciousness, just by remembering them, all obstacles go away. They take obstacles away. Even though they appear to be no longer here, they're totally here. And they give all auspiciousness. But if we fail to do so, then the opposite happens. So we always want to make sure we're observing these days. So yesterday we spoke about a very beautiful dance festival of Krishna's. You know about Krishna and the gopis and all of that? Something. Okay.
Not the entire history.
So Krishna, Radha, and all of their associates called the Rasa Lila. And then we also celebrated the worship of Krishna's divine potency, Sri Radha, who is also called Transcendental Saraswati, or the goddess who gives that kind of knowledge that brings us closer to bhakti or devotion. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna, the supreme god and goddess, combined as a devotee to teach us how to develop love for them by his own example. And so today's the divine appearance day of his consort, his wife, Vishnu Priya. It's also the disappearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami, a great renunciate saint in our line, and also Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur. And then Vasanti here will be speaking about Raghunandan Thakur, and Shivananda Prabhu will be speaking and reading about Pundarik Vijayanidhi. So let's see, where do we want to start? Since we hear ladies first, so let's start with Vishnu Priya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme renunciate. He doesn't need to be married to fulfill any desires, but in order to set an example of a perfect everything, perfect renunciate, perfect householder, he accepted a wife. But he's not just going to accept any wife. So first he accepted Lakshmi Priya, but then when he went away to another city to to get initiated, and when he came back, because the feeling of separation from him was too great for his wife Lakshmi Priya, so she just left her body in a state of separation. But then, of course, she joined him. But we don't see that part. Hare Krishna, welcome. And so his mother was thinking, well, we came back home. He came back home. So there's no home. A home is just a house without a wife. So he should get married again. So she was searching and searching everywhere. So that's the part we're going to read now. How he found her, how they married, and what happened after that. I need to talk to you after to give you some after procedure guidance. Okay, because I'm realized in that. Okay. So his mother's name was Sachi. Mother Sachi constantly searched throughout Navadvip, the holy land of Navadvip, where Lord Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, where Lord Chaitanya lived, for a suitable bride for his son. In Navadvip there resided a most fortunate and compassionate devotee named Sanatan Mishra. He hailed from a very well-to-do family, and he easily maintained many people. He had one beautiful daughter named Vishnu Priya. And she was like the personification of the goddess of fortune, like the mother of the universe. From her childhood, she would take bath in the sacred river Ganges every day, 2 or 3 times a day. And she had no engagement other than serving her parents and the Supreme Lord. She regularly met with and offered obeisances to Mother Sachi at the Ganges while she was bathing. Mother Sachi happily blessed her. May Krishna bless you with a suitable husband. Then, as Mother Sachi took her bath, she thought, may this girl be married to my son. Then Sanatan Mishra and his relatives also desired that she married the Lord, because she was really a goddess on earth. One day she inspired Kasinath Pandit to her home. And she said to him, dear son, please listen to my request. Oh, you can imagine what the request was. Go tell Sanatan Mishra that if he desires, he may give his daughter to my son. Kasinath Mishra Pandit immediately left for the house of Sanatan Mishra while chanting the names of Durga and Krishna. So many people worshipped Durga in Navadvip at that time. Sanatan Mishra respectfully welcomed him. And he said, dear brother, what brings you here? I have a proposal for you. If you find it proper, then please accept it. Please give your daughter's hand in marriage to Visvambar Pandit. Visvambar is another name for Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachi. And that's a name he got at birth from the family astrologer. But actually, Visvambar means he who maintains the whole universe. How does he maintain it and nourish it by giving it transcendental love for Krishna? I feel it's a perfect match. He's a qualified husband for your daughter, and your chaste daughter, is a qualified wife for him. Sanatan Mishra loved the proposal, and he discussed it with his wife and relatives, and they all replied, "What need is there for further discussion? Let's just arrange the marriage. I will certainly give my daughter in marriage to Visvambara Pandit. If my family is fortunate, then she will marry him." So Kasinath Mishra Pandit went back to tell Sachi Mata, and then the marriage began to be arranged. One great devotee named Buddhi Manta Kant, he said, "I'll bear all the expenses of this marriage." And then Mukunda Sanjay said, "Listen, if you bear all the expenses, then what will I do?" And so Buddhimanta Khan replied, "We don't need a very elaborate marriage here. This is going to just be a very simple brahmana, mean priestly marriage. That's it." So then the other one, Mukunda Sanjay, he said, "I will make such arrangements for the marriage that he will appear like a prince in the eyes of the people." So then the auspicious day was arranged, and on the day before, see, in a marriage, there's a marriage, and then the day before is the big celebration. So then a huge pandal was set up with banana trees placed in the four directions, water pots, ghee lamps, rice paddy, yogurt, if you can picture that, mango leaves. You know how we do sometimes? You hang these mango leaves, and lamps, not electric lamps, but pure ghee lamps. That means clarified butter, and that's lit in a cotton wick. That's beautiful. It smells nice. And other auspicious items. Also designs drawn with colored powders. And everybody was invited. Come in the afternoon and chew the pan of the Adivas ceremony. Means become intoxicated by being there. Then they started playing various instruments like mardanga, shanai, jayadaka, kartals, and there was a great tumultuous sound. The professional blessers began to chant prayers, and the chaste women made auspicious sounds. Vasanti? As the Brahmanas chanted Vedic mantras, Visvambar, the crest jewel of the Brahmanas, came and sat in their midst. They all sat in groups around him. A guru is it's a very beautiful liquid that comes from a tree and is used as one of the natural perfumes. So a guru, sandalwood paste, pan, flower garlands were all brought out and offered to the brahmanas. Garlands were placed on their heads. Their bodies were smeared with sandalwood paste, and each brahmana was given a box of pan. Innumerable brahmanas were present there, the priestly caste, because they were all householders, and so everyone was there. Everyone was intoxicated with ecstasy and thus unable to recognize each other. Imagine, they were so thrilled in their own self. The Lord smiled and gave instruction. Being affectionate to them, he considered, if they give out garlands and everything 3 times, then they will be satisfied. They were all happy, all the Brahmanas were happy to receive gifts 3 times. So none of them wanted any more than they really need because they already got so much. Following the Vedic injunctions, he then happily applied sandalwood pulp to the Lord's forehead at an auspicious moment. At that time there rose a tumultuous chanting in the glorification of Krishna, and everyone began reciting mantras. The chaste women made auspicious sounds of the singing and playing of musical instruments filled the entire house with ecstasy. The next morning, the Lord took bath in the Ganges and then worshipped the Lord. I mean, he is the Lord, but he's setting the example of a perfect devotee. Thereafter, he sat with his family members to perform one of the marriage ceremonies. Various colored flags waved and strings of mango leaves were tied to banana trees. Mother Sachi and other chaste women then began to perform the various rituals that were currently practiced for the marriage. Then they all went to the house of Vishnupriya to get her. In great happiness at the house of Vishnupriya, her mother performed various rituals. After completing this, Lord Chaitanya, or Viswambar, or Nimai, sat down and relaxed for a while. Thereafter, he humbly satisfied all the Brahmanas with foodstuffs and cloth. Then they all went inside the house to take prasadam. The Lord's beautiful limbs were smeared with sandalwood pulp and a guru. His forehead was decorated with designs of sandalwood paste in the shape of a half moon, and an enchanting tilak mark was drawn through it with a guru. You can see a guru also in the last painting of Raman Manjari. On her plate, she's holding a little bowl of a guru. He wore a wonderful crown on his head, and fragrant flower garlands covered his body. He wore fine yellow cloth with 3 corners tucked in, so detailed, and his beautiful eyes were decorated with kajal. You know kajal? Kajal is a natural version of mascara. Makes the eyes bright and healthy. Durva grass was tied with a thread around his right wrist, and he held a mirror and a fresh banana leaf in his hand. His ears were adorned with gold earrings, and his arms were decorated with various jeweled armlets. Wow, he was really ornamented. In this way, everyone joyfully decorated his limbs with appropriate items. Professional blessers began to recite their various prayers. Lord Nimai Viswambar circumambulated his mother, means went around his mother out of honor, and offered obeisances to the brahmanas. Then, as he got up onto a palanquin, auspicious sounds of Jai, Jai were heard in all directions. His procession first proceeded to the bank of the Ganges, where the half moon was seen overhead. Thousands of lamps were lit, and various fireworks were set off. They were followed by diverse, can you picture all that? They were followed by diverse groups of dancers who all danced jubilantly. People were carrying flags. Next, a group of jesters, like jokers. Anyway, so the marriage took place very opulently. Let me see if I can come to a quick end to the marriage, because that's just the beginning. So then the Universal Mother, Vishnu Priya, offered a flower garland to her new husband and surrendered herself at his feet. And then the Lord sweetly smiled and offered a flower garland to her. Then they exchanged glances as well. Then they took prasadam together and joyfully spent an auspicious night together. Who can describe the happiness there? I think we'll end here. Everybody got an idea of the marriage. And then he took her home to his house. All right, so then what happened? So this part I had actually never read before. I read some of Chaitanya Bhagavat, but not the part about his luxurious marriage. I knew about the one with his first wife, but not his second. So then, after that, he turned another face. He showed his renunciation. He hardly ever spoke to her, but she never bothered him. She only wanted to serve his mood, and he was always wanting to chanting Hare Krishna and glorifying Krishna and feeling separation from Krishna. Oh Krishna, where are you? Where are you? And fainting and dancing ecstatically. And she never wanted to disturb him. Prabhupada said that he just joked with her once. When his mother was missing something, he said, maybe your daughter-in-law has taken it. That was it. It's hardly anything. Anyway, so their life went on for not too long a time. And then he decided, so this is my time for taking sannyas, for taking the renounced order of the life, of leaving home and going off and being a renunciate and spreading Krishna consciousness. So there was only a few people, like 5 people who knew about this plan, like Gadadhar Pandit, Acharya Ratna, and a few others. And so, although he had never really given her attention, on this particular day, he got a loki, it's like a gourd or squash, from one of his devotee market owners, and someone gave him milk, and he went home very joyfully and asked his mother, please make this luck lucky, it's called luck lucky preparation of boiled down milk and this squash. And so then he very joyously and in an opulent mood went into his wife's room, Vishnu Priya, and for the first time he was decorating her hair, speaking sweet loving words, decorating her, and she was thinking, this is pretty suspicious here. Let's see what happened earlier today. And then she remembered that she had gone to the Ganges to bathe, but on the way she stubbed her toe and it bled. And she thought, this is pretty auspicious. And then she went in the Ganges to take her bath, and she saw that her nose ring, which she received at the time of marriage, and which is the sign of marriage, fell into the Ganges. And she was looking everywhere. This is my marriage ring. And she couldn't find it. So she went back to Sachi Devi's house, Iswambar's house, and she cried, and she told her what happened, that I'm just seeing foreboding news happening. So then that night, when he was so luxurious with her and decorating her hair and garlanding her, she was thinking, this is seems very inauspicious. When it's the first time it happened in their life in years, and she's thinking it's inauspicious. So she was trying to stay awake so she could appreciate the moments, these rare moments. But the Lord's potency, transcendental pastime potency, named Yoga Maya, she, not literally but figuratively, sat on the eyelids of Vishnu Priya. And Vishnu Priya tried to stay awake. Is Sumukhi here? Tried so hard, but she couldn't. And then she just fell asleep. So then Mahaprabhu looked at her once, stood up, looked back at her once, and then proceeded forward. And he went out of his house, and he saw his mother there, and she was standing there, just like a stone, because mothers know their children's moods, right? So she had some inkling that he was going to leave that night. She couldn't say anything, she couldn't cry, she was just like a stone and just stood there. So he offered obeisances to her and then circumambulated her a few times, and then, I'm going to see my Krishna. And then he left. It was a very cold, dark, rainy night, but still he went into it. Oh, Krishna, where are you? And he ran into the Ganges and jumped in and came out the other side in Katva. And in Katva, he met his sannyas guru. Sannyas guru is one who gives you a special mantra and initiates you into the renounced order of life, where you give up everything and just go in one direction. So that was a very pathetic ceremony, in the sense that so many devotees were there on the other side waiting for him, and they couldn't bear that his beautiful black wavy locks like yours, beautiful black locks of hair, were going to be cut off and he was going to be shaven. So they were weeping and he was thrilled, but he didn't actually get the sannyas mantra from him. He got it from himself. That is, he whispered into the ear of his sannyas guru, is this the mantra that you're going to be giving me? And so he actually initiated him, and he just gave the mantra back. And then Mahaprabhu left Navadvip, but then there was a special occasion when, that's a whole long story, but how they all brought Mahaprabhu, now he's sannyas, his name is Mahaprabhu, great master, and they brought him to Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. And there, everyone was invited except one person, Vishnu Priya. So she's like outside and she's thinking, everyone is invited except for me, who loved him the most, more than everyone. So she understood that if one wants to do bhajan, or if one wants to practice the extreme of devotion, then he has to give up what's most dear. Easy to give up something that's not dear to you. But he gave up Vishnu Priya, who's his other half, his potency, his power. And then, so that, to show that example. And then after that, Vishnu Priya showed her extreme renunciation. So she would always be remembering Mahaprabhu, and she would chant so many rounds, rounds on the beads. So she would chant, and every time she finished one round of 108 beads, she would take a piece of rice and put it down as the counter. And so in the middle of the day, whatever amount of rice she had, that's what she gave her mother to cook, and then she would partake of the remnants, the prasadam, like we do. And she also had a deity, like our deities, of a deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who she actually used to talk to. So they were never really separated. And so, yeah, she's the perfect example also of everything. And so Vishnu Priya Devi ki jai. So now I'll ask a couple of other people to speak. So would you like to read about Pundarik Vijayanidhi? You want to pull up a chair here? There's an extra chair. But then they can't see you. So if you sit, if you're looking at somebody when they speak, if you look at somebody when you speak, it's easier to hear them. So if you can take a pillow or that orange chair and sit here, not quite in front of Tulsi, or you can sit here, either way. Huh? Yes.
Who is Vishnu
very good
Priya
question.
in Krishna Lila?
Very, very good question. So in the island, there are 9 islands in the holy land of Navadvip. There's a pastime that takes place in the island called, if you have to leave now? Yeah, I do. Oh, we're so sorry. We hope you come back soon.
I'll probably be back for Kirtan. So.
Oh, tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
See you then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is the history of Lord Ram. And Lord Ram was banished for 14 years from the palace. And so now his brother built Sita and Ram a hut. And now they're talking, and he's standing there and smiling. She said, "Why are you smiling?" Because in a future life, you are my potency. You are non-different from Radharani. You're the expansion of Radharani. And you're always with me eternally. But in a future life, you will be Radha and I will be Krishna. And even though there's no separation between us, still we'll have to be separated because prem, or true transcendental love, has two divisions, meeting and separation. And without separation, meeting cannot develop. It cannot remain ever fresh, cannot remain new. And then in our incarnation after that, I will be, at that time, in this life, I will banish you, is foretelling. In this life, I will banish you later on. He sends Sita away. In our next life, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vishnu Priya, I will go to the forest and you will stay home. For that same reason that Prem has two divisions. And now I will make a golden statue of you, Sita, and then you will have a statue of me when I'm Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So she's his potency. She's a manifestation of Srimati Radhika. You could say she's Satyabhama because she has a more opulent relationship. So she couldn't be one of the Brijabasis because her relationship is more formal. So that's a drop of. Okay, go ahead. This is Shivananda Prabhu, and he's reading and discussing about the great Pundarik Vidyanidhi.
Get your mic stand.
Shri Pundarik Vidyanidhi ki.
Hi.
Dandavat pranams to all. Hare Krishna to everyone, headed by Her Grace, and seconded by Srimati Vasanti Didi. I'm happy to be here at SVA. This is actually, believe it or not, probably only the first time I've ever sat in the seat next to Didi in 4 or 5 years or a long time, and I'm extremely nervous. I'm just going to read. Then but in my mind, as I read, there are 3 points in here that stand out the most to me. And so I'm going to explain those 3 points now, and so that I can remember the 3 points because I've explained it. One of the first points that is very difficult to recognize who is a devotee. Very, very difficult. And in here it is explained that there must be a certain amount of faith and love for the Lord that is somewhat, you could say, alive inside of the jivas. And that the Lord is also extremely, because He's the controller of everything, if He wants to hide Himself, no one can find Him. And oftentimes people will think that His devotees are ordinary people, but actually none of His devotees, pure devotees, are ordinary people. But He has this potency. The second thing, which may be the third, come in the last, is that the Thakurji, or Jagannath Baladev Subhadraji, in this particular case, and Thakurji is not made of wood or stone or these seemingly external material elements are transformed through the presence of the Lord. And so how this happens, the Thakurji, as we see, is actually, you could say, initially there's a form that is created out of the material elements, but because the Lord is situated completely comfortably within the heart of the pure devotee, then the pure devotee can ask the Lord to enter into this seemingly inert material energy. The verse that supports this as well is Kartam Akartam Anyakartum Sa Ishvara. Like an electrician only sees electrical energy, so they can wire it in one way by which the electrical energy creates heat, wired another way. For example, heat, electric stove, wired in another way, creates cold. So everything Parasha Shakti Vivada Vishvayute or Aham Savasha Prabhavo, everything comes from me. Krishna is the supreme energetic source. Everything else is his energies. So because he is even greater than any electrician, he can take his material energies and change them into anything else. Prabhupada called this being Krishnized for the devotees. So in this pastime we see the Lord is actually the Lord. In Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochena, when we have our eyes are tinted with the salve of love, then the Lord, by mercy, becomes moved and he reveals this truth. There's one other thing, but my brain's mush, I forgot. Okay. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Last thing, I'm sorry, I'll read really quickly because I read this whole thing this morning and I realized I wanted to cut this out, want to cut that out, I want to not say this, make it shorter. Can't do it. Just can't do it. Because this is from the book Parshas by Sri Bhakti Balabatirtha Maharaj, one of the associates of my Srila Gurudev. I saw them speak together many times in Navadvip. They were very, 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 very close friends. So please forgive me, my eyes are bad. And this book is really crazily. It is, last thing, this book is, the print is not black and white. It's a kind of a suvarna, believe it or not. It looks brown, but it is like a molten gold print. It's the best you could get. If you put gold, then molten gold, it wouldn't work. So what they did is they decided to get the closest thing to this suvarna, and it comes out to be kind of like a brown print. Really very difficult in the contrast to read. No. Thank you for asking, though. Okay, there's some Sanskrit. I probably won't read any Sanskrit, but two verses that are very small that are impacted in here. And again, I just don't feel comfortable skipping, so I'll read quickly. He who was previously known in Braj as Rishabhanu is known here as Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi. When Mahaprabhu was in his own mood as Krishna and felt the pain of separation from Radha, he would call him father. Gaurachandra was happy with Pundarik and named him Premanidhi, or the treasure house of love. Mahaprabhu always treated him with respect because he was disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is said to be his expansion, and his wife, Ratnavati, was Kirtida in Braj. Pundarik Vidyanidhi's father was named Banishvar, and his mother, Ganga Devi. He was born on Vasant Panchami, the 5th day of the waxing moon in the month of Magh, in Chakrashala in Chittagong. His home was Shripad, used to stand in the village of Mekhala, 2 miles east of the Hat Hajari police station, about 12 miles north of the city of Chittagong. Vidyanidhi's father was a Virendra Brahmin who hailed from the town of Bhagya in the district of Dhaka. Pundarik Vidyanidhi himself was a wealthy landowner in Chakrashala. He's an extremely rich zamindar from Chakrashala, but is very pure in his actions. He is Virendra Brahmin, whose lineage is extremely respectable. His name is Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Sometimes he stays in Chittagong and sometimes in Navadvip. He is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and that's from Prem Vilas. The first one was from Gauraganasha Dipika, which we have here. The Lord glorifies Pundarik. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi came to Navadvip because he wished to live by the banks of the Gangas. Mahaprabhu, the indweller of all beings, knew prior to his coming he had such a desire. And one day an assembly of devotees started calling out, Pundarik, my friend, my father, and crying. When his associates asked him why he was crying in this way, the Lord described Pundarik Vidyanidhi to them in the following way, quote, His character is quite extraordinary. Just by hearing his name, the whole world is purified. But he dresses and looks just like a materialistic person in the midst of the accoutrements of the life of pleasure. No one is able to recognize him as a Vaishnava, yet he remains constantly merged in the deep ocean of devotion for Krishna. He never bathes in the Ganges because he's afraid to touch the holy waters with his feet, which would show disrespect. He only goes to take darshan of the Ganges at night and from a distance. He cannot bear to see people engage in offensive behavior to the Ganges by gargling, cleaning their teeth, washing their hair in her waters. So he never goes there during the daytime. He never engages in worship of the deity without having taken a drink of Ganges water. His, he has he has homes in both Chittagong and in Navadvip and will soon be arriving here. Because of his apparently materialistic behavior, you will not be able to recognize him. But I feel unwell because I am not able to see him now. The Supreme Lord has appeared. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. The Supreme Lord has appeared in Navadvip, but he heaves long sighs because he doesn't seem Pundarik Vidinidhi. Lord Gauranga stands up and starts to dance, calling out loudly, Pundarik, my father, Pundarik, my friend, my father, when will I see? It is thought that Pundarik Vidinidhi took initiation from Madhavendra Puri at the same time that Advaita Acharya did. Mahaprabhu always showed him the respect was due the god brother of his own guru. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, I know Sri Pundarik Vidinidhi to be a major branch, for the Lord himself cried while spontaneously calling out his name. Gadadhar becomes Pundarik's disciple. Next subject. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami, Mukunda Dat, Vasudev Dat were also originally from Chittagong. It's Chittagong. So they were acquainted with Pundarik Vidinidhi. Indeed, Gadadhar Pandit's father, Madhavendra Mishra, was his good friend. Mukunda Dat knew his transcendental personality and that he was a Vaishnava, but Gadadhar did not, even though he was from the same town. This was, of course, a pretense for the sake of Leela. When Pundarik was living in Navadvip, Mukunda Dat told Gadadhar one day that he wanted to introduce him to a great Vaishnava. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami was a brahmachari from childhood and extremely detached from the senses and ascetic in his lifestyle. When he saw Pundarik sitting on comfortable cushions, covered in sheets as white as the foam of milk, and wearing very expensive clothes and perfumes, smoking from a hookah, and generally surrounded by all the trappings of a sensual lifestyle, he was unable to recognize him as a Vaishnava. Indeed, he felt let down. Mukunda could see from Gadadhar's face what was going through his head, and in order to bring out Pundarik's inner mood, he recited 2 verses from the Bhagavatam that ignited flames of love for Krishna. Aho Bhakyam Stanakala Kutam Jigam Saya Payayada Pi Asadvi Devagatim Datri Uchitam Tato Nyam Kam Vadayulam Sharanam Prapadye. How truly amazing is the translation. The sister of Bakasura, the evil Putana, was sent on a mission to kill Krishna. He drank the Kalakuta poison mixed with her breast milk, and despite her evil intentions, awarded her the position of a wet nurse as Ambika Kilimba in Goloka. Who is more merciful than he that I should take shelter of him? That, then there's another verse, Putana Laka Balagni Rakshashi Varirasana Jigamsayapi Hare Stanam Jakpa Sadgatim. That Rakshashi Putana was a blood-drinking killer of infants. Even though she wanted to kill Krishna, she attained the auspicious goal of a nurse in Goloka because she had given him her breast to drink. As soon as he heard these 2 verses in glorification of Krishna's mercy, Sri Pundarik Vidinidhi cried out, Ha Krishna, and fell to the floor in a swoon. He began to roll on the floor in ecstasy, knocking over the hookah and tearing his clothes. When he saw these transcendental symptoms of love on Pundarik's body, Gadadhar realized that he had committed an offense, which he began to regret. He decided that the only way to rid himself of this offense would be to take initiation from Pundarik. And he relayed this idea to, I think it was Mukunda. Yes, Mukunda. Mukunda then communicated his desire to Pundarik, who happily set a date for the auspicious act. Mahaprabhu also gave his approval, and so Gadadhar took mantra initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. In Krishna Lila, Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi is Vrishabhanu, and Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami is Pandit Goswami is Radha. Because of Pundarik's identity as Vrishabhanu, Mahaprabhu would call out to him as father when he was himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani. The deep affection from their previous life's relation became apparent between Pundarik and Gadadhar. No one can understand the pastimes of the Vaishnavas without their mercy. It's a very beautiful verse. I got to memorize this one. Vaishnava chintanare devara sakati muikon chara shishu aupamati. Even the gods are unable to recognize a Vaishnava. So how can a foolish fallen child like myself do so? Even though Pundarik Vidyanidhi was a great Vaishnava, he kept it a secret and went about just like a materialistic person. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur warns us in his Gaudiya Bhashya in the Chaitanya Bhagavad that one cannot recognize a Vaishnava through any superficial examination. Krishna Leela is not accessible to limited sensory understanding. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi. Krishna's servants occasionally go unrecognized due to their apparently materialistic surroundings. In this way, they deceive the conditioned souls. Many scholars take Krishna's activities to be those of a material lover because of their own obsession with sensuality, and thus they have no faith in him. Others consider Krishna to be an ordinary man who is born, undergoes transformation, and dies. Thus, they have no idea of who he really is. John Makamari Chimadishvam, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Those who recognize my transcendental appearance and disappearance, they are devotees. Oh, he really is. Krishna devotees are also, this is very interesting here. This is another point. This is the point. Because anyway, I don't have to purport that. Krishna's devotees are also sometimes reluctant to reveal their real selves to the unworthy, and thus make a pretense of being ordinary materialistic persons. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is also sometimes called the Prachana avatar, or hidden incarnation. There's a name for that too. Is it Chala avatar? Is it? There's another name for hidden. In the same spirit, Pundarik put on the show of being sensualist for those who were capable of being deceived by someone's external appearance. Once, Pundarik Vidyanidhi came to see Mahaprabhu when it was already quite late at night. As soon as he saw the Lord, he was so overcome by love that he could not even pay his obeisances. Mahaprabhu was similarly anxious to see his dearmost devotee, Pundarik, and immediately took him to his breast and washed him with tears of love. When the other devotees heard Mahaprabhu cry and call, Pundarik, Father, and treasure of love, they knew just how dear he was to him. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was also known as Mahaprabhu's associate as Acharya Nidhi. The Supreme Lord cried and called out, Pundarik, Father, today I've seen my own father. Today I rose from my sleep in an auspicious moment, and I saw Premanidi standing before me. It's Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi participated in the nightly Sankirtan festival in Sri Bas Pandit's home, along with Mahaprabhu and his other associates. On Mahaprabhu's order, Nityananda and Haridas went door to door to spread the chanting of the holy names, and thus to liberate the conditioned souls, succeeded in converting Jagai and Madai. When Jagai and Madai were sitting amongst the devotees before Mahaprabhu, they also displayed the ecstatic symptoms of praying. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi was also present there, and he became completely submerged in loving ecstasy to see their great fortune. It is stated in the Bhakti Ratnakar that Mahaprabhu celebrated the birth of Radharani at Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi's home. Just a little bit more. So, there's Pundarik in Puri. Should I skip that? Pundarik in Puri? How about, should I skip it? Gadadhar wishes to receive initiation. Gadadhar wishes to receive the mantra. Should I skip that?
Well, you already kind of read it.
Okay. So then this is the next one. I'll go all the way to Jagannath slaps Pundarik. Okay. So, on the Orana Shasti festival, Jagannath's servants dress him in a cloth that still has starch in it. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Orana Shasti takes place at the beginning of winter. This is the first day that Jagannath is dressed in winter clothes. The winter cloth is called Marua Vrashtra because it has not been washed and still has Mara, weaver's starch, in it. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi was a pure sadachari, attached to the proper etiquette of Vaishnavism. When he observed this custom, he did not feel happy about it and said to his friend Swarup Damodar, "Why do they give this unwashed cloth to the Lord? The people of this country know the rules in the Smritis and Shrutis, so why do they give Maruwa cloth to Jagannath?" Swarup Damodar answered that the Supreme Lord is beyond the rules and regulations that have become general customs, and therefore there was no fault. Vidyanidhi did not find this conclusion satisfying, and he countered by saying, "That may be true for the Lord himself, but his servants should follow the rules of the scriptures. The Sri Vigraha of the Lord is beyond the material qualities, so you can say this of him. But his servants are not of the same nature as he, so we are permitted to judge whether their behavior is proper or not." Vidyanidhi is Mahaprabhu's dear associate, and beyond any fault. But once again, we see that the Lord teaches particular lessons through his devotees. Here he wished to show that we have no right to make judgments or to find fault with the behavior of Jagannath's devotees. That night, an angry Jagannath came to Pundarik Vidyanidhi and gave him a dream vision. Vidyanidhi was frightened when he saw the anger of the Lord. Jagannath and Balaram slapped him on each of his cheeks, and Pundarik started to cry out, "Krishna, save me! Krishna, save me! Forgive me! Forgive my offense." "There is no end to your offensiveness." Then Jagannath said, "Pundarik, there is no end to your offenses. Just there is no question of pure and impure in my case, the same holds true for my servants. You are staying here. You should know all this. If you thought that it was impure, then why did you stay at all? Go home. Then if you want to maintain your purity. So go home if you want to maintain your purity." When Pundarik woke up in the morning, the devotees saw the marks of the Lord's slaps on Pundarik's cheeks, which is swollen as a result, and they started to laugh. This pastime shows just how dear Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi was to Jagannath and to Mahaprabhu. For the Lord only comes to his dearest devotees to punish them personally in this way. That night, Jagannath and Balaram came to him and, laughing all the while, slapped him on the cheeks. Pundarik Vidyanidhi felt a secret joy at his swollen cheeks, as has been described by Vrindavan Das in detail. Vrindavan Das Thakur concludes the Chaitanya Bhagavat with the following glorification of Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi. The Supreme Lord Gauranga called out the name of the devotee, crying, Pundarik, my father. Anyone who hears about his life and activities will undoubtedly attain Krishna's lotus feet. Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi ki.
Panchakopacharyascha kripasunubheva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Very good. Explaining how both the Lord and his devotee can appear like ordinary people, but actually they're great souls. So it takes mercy, you were saying, to get the Lord's mercy to have him reveal himself. Good. So Vasanti, would you like to read now or speak now? She's going to speak her remembrances plus what she's seeing in the written send out of Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj.
Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Bhakti Maharaj. Okay, so today is also appearance day of Shri Raghunandan Thakur, another associate of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Bhakti Maharaj spoke this 2015. Shri Raghunandan Thakur was the son of Mukunda, who was a doctor in the royal court. Mukunda was such a Premika Bhakta that just by seeing a peacock feather, he would faint in love of God. Once, Chaitanya Dev asked Mukunda, "Tell me, Mukunda, is Raghunandan your father, or are you Raghunandan's father?" Mukunda said that Raghunandan was his father. He said this because he credited Raghunandan for having received Krishna Bhakti from him. So the story, the Leela goes thus. Once Mukunda had to go away for some service, and he asked Raghunandan to serve the deity, to make sure he gets, their deity is named Lord Gopinath, and he said, make sure he gets fed every day. So Raghunandan offered Bhoga to Gopinath, but he was seeing that Gopinath wasn't eating. So as a young boy, very simple boy, he would say, eat, eat. You're not eating, you gotta eat. My father told me you gotta eat. He's gonna be very mad at me if you don't eat. So, just like, you gotta eat just like normal people do. So when he noticed the food was still intact, he began to cry. He thought because he didn't know the mantra and procedure properly that the Lord wouldn't accept food from him. So he said, my father's coming home soon, and if he sees this food here, he's gonna scold me, so please eat. At this point, seeing his devotee's helplessness, which we know is the key ingredient there of, as we saw with Mother Yashoda when she's binding Krishna. Krishna was playing with her and seeing it, and once she was like red, changing colors, red and yellow and sweating, and then he's like, oh, I gotta. So once the Lord sees the devotee's helplessness, the Lord, who's controlled by love, has no choice but to accept. So when Raghunandan brought back the offering plate, it was empty. The Lord ate everything. When Mukunda returned home and heard about this, he was astonished to see that the Lord had eaten everything. When Raghunandan was questioned, he became confused. He said, you asked me to serve the Lord, and now you're asking how the Lord ate everything? To resolve the matter, they made some big coconut ladus and asked Raghunandan to offer it to the Lord. Mukunda hid himself in the room to see if the Lord really eats the offering. Raghunandan offered the ladu to Gopinath by hand. With Mukunda hiding, when Raghunandan called the Lord to eat, he did not come. Seeing this, Raghunandan began to cry, thinking that now he would be chastised by his father. Unable to see his tears, the Lord came and accepted the laddu and started eating. After the Lord ate half of the laddu, Mukunda appeared in front of him, and hence the Lord abruptly stopped eating. So there's a, it doesn't say it here, but in another lecture I heard that there's a Thakurji of Gopal, or Gopinath, where he's got half a laddu in his hand. It's the half of the laddu that when he stopped eating because he was being watched. So that's it. But just also another important point is about offerings. Of course, we offer with the mantras that were given by Shri Guru and the Prampra, Archandipika, but also the main ingredient is love. So, in another lecture, don't they come from like a family of doctors, Ayurvedic? It's just, maybe this was short. Here he is. Yeah. Shri Raghunath Thakur ki.
Well, that's an extremely important history of what happened. Because even if you know all the mantras, Krishna may not eat. He's not obliged. Okay, so now we shall be glorifying Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is an eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the 6 Goswamis and principal associates of Mahaprabhu. He's also the associate of Shri Radha and Krishna, with a leaning to Radharani as one of her most important and intimate maidservants, called Pran Saki. There's 2 types of maidservants. Out of the 5 kinds of gopis, there's 2 types that are maidservants. One kind doesn't have any, just plain Saki, doesn't have any interest in any relationship with Krishna, but she's not also in a mood to taste whatever Radharani tastes. She's kind of a servant in Yashoda's house, or just a little bit outside the intimate kind of manjaris who want to taste what Radharani is tasting, like Nandi Mukhi, who helps with arrangements, Kundalata, who helps with the arrangements of Radha and Krishna, but are not personally interested in tasting that herself. But Raghunath Das Goswami is a Nitya Pran Saki, one of the 2 types of sakis that are manjaris, that is the Nitya Saki and the Pran Saki. But for our benefit, Raghunath Das Goswami is playing the role of a conditioned soul gradually advancing in bhakti. So since the time he was born, his father, he was the only son of his father and uncle. His father was Govardhan Mazumdar, and his uncle, that is the brother of Govardhan, is Hiranya Mazumdar. And so they very, very much wanted him to be the heir of their kingdom. Otherwise they had no heir, no one to externally take care of the properties and be the landowner, and no one to carry on their dynasty. So they were very attached to him. Also, he was very beautiful and good-natured, so they were very attached to him. then, since his very early childhood, because his parents used to always serve the Vaishnavas, so whenever any pure devotee, Vaishnava, would come, they would always serve him. And so Haridas Thakur used to come and visit often, and he used to go to Raghunath Das and play with him, like Hare Krishna, holding the hands, and teaching him anything that a child could understand about bhakti. And he would tell him pastimes of Krishna. You want to come through here? You want to come through here? And then there was another pure devotee who used to come. He was the family guru, named what? Yadunandan Acharya. And he gave him initiation at the time of 5 years old. And he also used to encourage him to come to bhakti, but more so Haridas Thakur. And then he got more and more attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, he always was, but he's playing the role of someone advancing. So then, and they used to tell him about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu was nearby, Raghunath Das Goswami was very eager to go and meet him when he was in Shantipur. You know, we discussed when he was in Shantipur and met his mother, and everyone was invited except for Vishnu Priya. So he went there and he begged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please take me with you to anywhere you go. I don't want to go back to my home. So Mahaprabhu said, you're not ready yet. If you leave home too early, then you'll again go back home and you'll marry and get entangled. So better to first go home and mature, and then you can come with me later. So he told him a verse that is, don't be attached outwardly. Outwardly act like an ordinary householder, and inwardly do bhajan so that no one can detect. But after meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das became like a madman. He would try to leave his house every day, and his family was so rich, they'd have guards just watching him. And they also married him to a beautiful girl that was as beautiful as Miss Universe. And so, but he wasn't interested in it at all. He didn't even have time to look in the mirror. So finally his mother was so exasperated that they had to keep sending out the guards to bring him back, that his mother said to his father, why don't we tie him with ropes? I thought it was chains before, but I see in the text that it's ropes. Either way, they wanted to tie him up. So his father became sad, and his father said, what's the use of tying him with ropes? If a beautiful wife, as beautiful as Miss Universe, is there with him and he has no interest in even looking at her, and all this opulence, he has the opulence of King Indra, the god of heaven, but still he's not attached. So how will some mere ropes bind him? So then one day, well, there's an incident here. There's an incident here of just one of the many incidences that he showed his beautiful nature. I'll just read that and then go on to what happened next. Instead of becoming a so-called renunciate, Raghunath Das followed the instructions of the Lord, returned home, and played actually and exactly like a pound-shilling man. He was inwardly completely renounced, even in family life, but he did not express that. Instead, he acted just like an ordinary businessman, and this is one example of that. When he received the message that Lord Chaitanya had returned to Mathura, Raghunath's endeavored to go to the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, there was a Mohammedan official collecting taxes of Saptagram, his place, their place of residence, the family, is Adi Saptagram, Adi Saptagram. When Hiranyadas, that's his uncle, made an agreement with the government to collect taxes, because in every village there's always somebody collecting taxes. And then he gets some profit. And then the balance he would give to the treasury. You know how when you go out collecting, you say we're giving a big donation to the poor, and then you only give a small percent, but still it's legal, and you go out collecting. So the tax collector shouldn't do that. When Hiranyadas made the agreement with the government, the Mohammedan Chaudhary, or tax collector, having lost his position, became extremely envious of him. Hiranyadas was collecting 2,000 coins and therefore should have delivered 1,500 to the government. Instead, he was giving only 1,200, thus making an extra profit of, is that 2 million? When it's a 2 and then 6 zeros. Is that a million? All right. So he was collecting 2 million coins, and he should have delivered 1,500,000, but he was giving only 1,200,000, which means he stole an extra 300,000. Seeing this, the Mohammedan Chaudhary, who was a Turk, became his rival. After sending a confidential account to the government treasury, the Chaudhary brought the minister in charge. The Chaudhary came, wanting to arrest Hiranya, but Hiranyadas had left home. Therefore, the Chaudhary arrested Raghunath Das. Every day the Mohammedan would chastise Raghunath Das and tell him, "Bring your father and his elder brother here, otherwise you will be punished." The Chaudhary wanted to beat him, but as soon as he saw his face, his mind changed and he couldn't beat him. That's one thing about his character. Indeed, the Chaudhary was afraid to beat him because he belonged to a Kayastha family, although the Chaudhary, which is higher than the Chaudharys. So, although the Chaudhary would chastise him, speaking, he was afraid to beat him. While this was going on, Raghunath thought of a tricky method of escape. Thus he humbly submitted this plea to the feet of the Mohammedan. "My dear sir, my father and his elder brother are both your brothers. All brothers always fight about something. Sometimes brothers fight among themselves, and sometimes they have very friendly dealings. There is no certainty when there'll be a change. Thus, I'm sure that although today you're fighting, tomorrow you three brothers will be sitting together in peace. Just as I am my father's son, so I am your son. I am your dependent, and you are my maintainer. For a maintainer to punish the person he maintains is not very good. You are expert in all the scriptures. Indeed, you are like a living saint. Hearing Raghunath's appealing voice, such a sweet voice, the Mohammedan's heart softened. He began to cry, and tears glided down his beard. The Mohammedan Chaudhary told Raghunath, "You are my son from this day on. Today, by some means, I shall have you released." After informing the minister, the Chaudhary released Raghunath and then began to speak to him with affection. "The elder brother of your father is less intelligent. He enjoys 800,000 coins, but since he is also a shareholder, he should give some portion to me. Now you go arrange a meeting between me and him. Let him do whatever he thinks best. I shall completely depend," that's amazing change, "I shall completely depend on your decision." Everything depends on people's emotions. Like Krishna can speak in anybody's heart to give $15 million, for example, if he wants to. Raghunath Das arranged a meeting between the uncle and the Chaudhary. He settled the matter because of his sweetness. And so everything was peaceful. In this way, Raghunath Das passed 1 year like a first-class business manager. One night, he got up alone in the middle of the night, but again he was caught. And this became almost a daily affair. So then, fortunately, or by fate, or by the Lord's mercy, in a nearby village of Panihati, Nityananda Prabhu came with his associates, and they were doing kirtan there. Then he considered something in his mind, and the next day he went to Nityananda Prabhu. He obtained an interview with Nityananda, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants, and others. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands. Just picture this, if you can, without going mad in your eyes. He was effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. Can you picture that? No. Many devotees sat around him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda, Raghunath was astonished. He offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place, not near him. And the servant of Nityananda pointed out, "There's Raghunath Das." So Nityananda looked over at Raghunath Das and said, "Thief, hey you thief." But Raghunath Das wouldn't come close. And he said, "Why are you staying at a distant place? You're a thief, come here." And he dragged Raghunath Das there. And then, very good. And then, so this is it. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu with his associates. And Raghunath Das at a distance. So Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath as follows: "You are just like a thief. Instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. But now that I've captured you, I shall punish you." And he forcibly took him near enough that he could put his foot on Raghunath's head, which would give him the mercy, the freedom from the obstacle to meeting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu permanently. Make a festival and feed all my associates, yogurt and chipped rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. He immediately sent his own men, because his father had sent him with some men, to the village to purchase all kinds of eatables and bring them back. Now this is not the day of Panihati, but on that day especially, Raga and Sharda especially can organize the chipped rice feast. I'll show you what it includes. He brought chipped rice, you know, that kind of like flat rice that they have in India. Then you soak it, but anyway, we'll hear about it. He brought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other eatable, and placed them all around. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of brahmanas and other gentlemen began to arrive. Huh? That one, yeah. This is what the chipped rice festival kind of sort of looks like. Then you might be wondering, well, why are they sitting in the water? But we'll find out in a minute. Seeing the crowd increasing, to how much? Innumerable. Raghunath arranged to get more eatables from other villages. Then he brought 200 to 400 large, round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots. And in these pots, a brahmana began to soak chipped rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. So there's two kinds of pots. One is chipped rice soaked in yogurt, and one is chipped rice soaked in milk. So one is sweeter than the other, but they both have things like bananas and candies and things. Like yogurt, sugar, bananas. Haribol. Candies, all varieties of candies. The other half was mixed with condensed milk, that's really sweet, and a special type of banana known as a chanpa kala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmana brought him the 7 huge pots. On the platform, all of the most important associates of Nityananda, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ramdas, Sundarananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari. You know who Gadadhar Das is? No. She's Radhika's effulgence. You know the verse that says, Radha Bhava Juti Subalita Nomi Krishna Chaitanya. So that's her duty, her effulgence, the rays from her, is Gadadhar Das, and he is the disciple of Gadadhar Pandit, naturally, who is Radharani. Then they're naming so many devotees. Everyone got these 2 earthen pots. And one was chipped rice with condensed milk, and the other one was chipped rice with yogurt, soaked. Did you ever make that, Vinodini? Huh? Many times. Maybe you could help these girls to learn how to do it. Yeah? You wanted to say something? You're just confirming that she made it many times. Good. Is it good? He is. Maybe he maybe he can also show the girls here how to do that. All the other people sat in groups around the platforms. No one could count how many people were there. And some of them, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked chipped rice. And others who couldn't even get a place on the land by the Ganges, they got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chipped rice. At that time, Raghava Pandit arrived. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He brought other kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. This prasadam he first placed before Lord Nityananda, Prabhu, Om Nityanandaya Swaha, and then distributed them among the devotees. Raghava Pandit said to Lord Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in a festival here, and so the food is lying there untouched." Then Nityananda Prabhu said, "Let me eat all this food during the day, and I shall eat at your home tonight. I belong to a community of coward men, and therefore I generally have many coward associates with me. I'm happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy banks of the river." Stand up. Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down, and he had 2 pots delivered to him. There were 2 kinds of chipped rice. Then an amazing thing happened. You know what that was? Mahaprabhu arrived, but hardly anybody saw him. He was I asked Prabhupada how to paint that. So if you look in the painting, you can see he has this big effulgence around his whole body. He's kind of half there and not there. Nityananda Prabhu stood up, and then they saw how others were enjoying the chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk. From each and every pot, Nityananda Prabhu took 1 morsel of chipped rice. From each and every pot, he took 1 morsel and pushed it into the mouth of Mahaprabhu. And he took a morsel of food, pushed it in the mouth of Nityananda Prabhu, and laughed as he made Nityananda Prabhu. So they were just feeding each other, as you can see. In this way, they both walked through all the groups of eaters, and everyone was seeing the fun. But no one could understand that Lord Nityananda, what he was doing. They saw him going through the crowds, but they didn't know what he was doing. But some could see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. So then he smiled and he sat down. On his right side, he kept 4 pots. Then Mahaprabhu sat down too. And then he called out, "All of you eat," chanting the holy names of Hari. I remember we had our very first New Year's Eve party with Prabhupada, and he was sitting up on the Vyasasana, and we were all sitting on the mats on the 2 sides. And people would come up for a second. He would say, "Come up for seconds, come up for more." Then he kept saying, chant while you chew. Just keep chanting. Finally, there was nothing but Hari, Hari, resounding through the whole universe, filling the whole universe. And then everybody remembered how Krishna used to eat with his cowherd friends, Krishna and Balaram. And now it's already 12:21. Do you think we should continue this and Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur another day? Oh no. We could do it Saturday, we could do it Monday. What would everybody like? Usually we don't have a class on Monday because everyone's kind of tired. Huh? Where? Oh. Oh. Okay, I'd like to go today too. All right, so is everybody getting like filled up enough with all these personalities? And you want to continue it another day? Okay, let's do that. So when should we continue? It's hard when there's back to back. It's hard to keep up. I could talk about it tonight a little bit, no? He's saying yes, you're saying no. Doesn't work? Okay, so anybody have a suggestion? We could do it Tuesday. It's nobody else's day, right? I guess we... Now you mean? Balabhas Manjali? Okay, we can do that and then go back. Because his whole life of renunciation with Mahaprabhu and Puri is very exemplary. Huh? What about Saturday? What time what? Yeah, that's true. Monday, we could start later, unless you have to go out somewhere. Oh, right, okay. All right, so let's do it Monday at 11 then. It's a deal. Okay, because this was a lot today. You had Vishnu Priya, Pundarik Vijaniti, Raghunandan Thakur, and the first half of the life of Raghunath Das Goswami. That was a lot of details, a lot of information, a lot of pastimes that you can mull over. Like I'm sure you haven't heard most of this before, right? Madhu and Shrimati. Basically, it's all new. All right, have you heard it? A little bit. All right, so Vasanti wants me now to jump to Rati Manjari, right, Vasanti? And go to Raghunath Das Goswami when he's living in Vrindavan and Mahaprabhu has left and Rupa Goswami has left and Sanatana Goswami has left. And he's feeling Vrindavan practically vacant. And he's praying to Srimati Radhika for various services. And that's very, very confidential. It's a book of prayers by Raghunath Das Goswami, who, in his form as a gopi or his form as a maidservant, he is Rati Manjari. Rati means not the Rati that's above, the pre-prem stage, but Rati means the Rati or the attachment, spontaneous attachment of Srimati Radhika, that high of Rati. And so in one of the verses, Hare Krishna, welcome. Were you just in the kitchen? Good. Were you able to hear? Why didn't somebody say something? I know, but it's a very important day. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk to them. Who else is in there? Nikunja and Gadagraja, and they're missing this important day. Okay. Anyway, so Raghunath Das Goswami, I just mentioned one of the prayers. I started to mention one of the prayers. I forget which one it was.
You said that Rati Manjari is not the regular Bob of this.
Oh, right. Thank you. So, in one of the verses, I believe it's verse 11, Raghunath Das Goswami is praying to Srimati Radhika. So please place the pollen-like dust particles of your lotus feet on my head so that my head will be qualified to be called the highest part of my body. Did you get that? Like the head's here, it's the highest part, but it's useless to be called a head if it's unsuccessful at being a head. So how will my head be successful? Be successful at being a head if my head is sprinkled with the lotus-like pollen from the dust of your lotus feet. Parag, lotus-like pollen. And so, does she just want Radharani to walk over and throw some pollen on her head? No. All of the prayers for service are prayers for service within a pastime. So when Krishna is trying to repay Srimati Radhika for her unlimited love, he wants to repay it by having her lotus feet on his head, sometimes on his head, and sometimes on his heart. And then when he takes her feet to his heart, how will he be doing that? So his heart is mixed with the kumkum from her chest when they embrace. And so then he gets the kumkum on his chest. So then his chest is perspiring. Trying to get the details here. His chest is perspiring. So then he takes her feet and he wants to put what's called red lac on her feet. Red lac is what you see the Indian ladies It's a liquid red kind of paste that they have under their feet. So he wants to put that lac on, but he doesn't want to just put it on like that. He wants to put it on with his names. He wants to take the brush. Brush means a handmade brush or a peacock feather, so that it's like a pen, but not too sharp. And then he writes his name. So as soon as he starts writing his name, he starts trembling because he is non-different from his name. And so his name, which is non-different from him, goes on her feet, and he thinks, I am at her feet. And he thinks that the altar is more fortunate than he is because they're there. But then again, his name is mixed. The altar is made of his name. So then he takes her feet, which now has the fresh paste on it, and he, not getting her permission, but he just takes her feet. Like if you're doing something, you might have to lean it on your chest, right? Like when would we do that? Carrying a plant, you have to lean it, or you want to even paint something, and you may want to put it on your lap and lean it on your chest, and then you can get close to painting it. So that's exactly what Krishna did. So he had her foot on his chest, and so his chest already has her kumkum on it, and so now his chest has her kumkum plus his name on her freshly painted lac. And so then when Krishna's painting, he's having a hard time because he's trembling. And so it's hard to write when you're trembling. So Radharani tells or hints at Rati Manjari. He's a Baal painter. You know, Hindi people, you know Baal. He's a neophyte child painter. He doesn't know how to paint. So you do it. So Rati Manjari would then kind of nudge him out of the way so that she could get the brush. But he's not a person that is just readily ready to give up his service. So he's kind of pulling it back. So then Radharani pretends to be disturbed with Rati Manjari, and she slightly or lightly kicks the head of Rati Manjari. Don't laugh, just do it. And so Rati Manjari is considering now that she is, what's that called? Chap Mara. You know what Chap Mara means in Hindi? Stamped, authorized stamp. You know, when you get married, you have an authorized stamp, or when you, what else? When you sign any important paper, the government itself authorizes that with stamp. So Rati Manjari is now thinking that I am the Chap Mara, or the official, I have the official government stamp of being Srimati Radhika's servant. And then he gets up to show all the sakis and look in the mirror, and then nothing's there. Krishna's not there, Radharani's not there, the stamp is not there. So then See, then at this time he was in internal consciousness. Then, when everything disappeared, he lost the scene and he came into external consciousness. Not external. First, he came into combination internal and external. And then he just started rolling on the banks of Radhakund. And then gradually he came into external, because that's the sequence. You're in external and you're feeling separation from a past time that you were already in but then lost it. So then you're feeling like a fish out of water. How is a fish out of water? He's flapping. He's thinking, I'll die in the next second if I don't get the water. So that's called greed in Raganuga Bhakti. It's a greed for something I had or tasted somewhat of and then lost it and now I want it back. So then in external consciousness, because in half in, half out, he's not able to really function very well. He can just cry and call out. Then in external consciousness, he's able to write and speak. Then he comes to external consciousness, and then again he weeps and cries and writes, speaks, and then all of a sudden the scene descends on him and he enters into another or the same or another internal state called antar dasha. Dasha means state, right? So antar, internal dasha. So these are the three states of a bhav raganuga sadhak, or a raganuga. Raganuga means the follower of the ragatmika bhaktas, or the eternal associates of Krishna in a particular relationship. And so when somebody can enter Raganuga Bhakti before the stage of Bhav, like in Ashakti or spontaneous attachment. And that's when there's a kind of like a reflection of your own soul or self begins. And then when you come to the stage of Bhav Bhakti, just prior to Prem, then you have these three, inners and outers. And then you finally enter into the mature stage of Bhav, which is Swarup Shakti. Swarup Siddha Bhakti. And then you enter into the body can't sustain prem, or transcendental love, or material body. So you leave your body when you reach that stage and you go to the place where any of the planets where Krishna is performing his pastimes, and then you get trained by the gopis, and then you go on. Gaur Premanandi. Well, that was one, but then one of his prayers, but we'll talk about more on, so stay tuned. We'll talk more on, what day? Tuesday, okay. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo, Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Go Premanandi, Hari Haribo. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Shri Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur ki jai. Shri Raghunandan Thakur ki jai. Shri Vijan Pundarik Vijaniri ki jai. Shri Vishnu Priya ki jai. Shri Ras Leela ki jai. Vasant Panchami ki jai. Saraswati Puja ki jai. My goodness, what a full day. Gova Premanandi. Kripa Sindhu.